Good evening. How are you? Over half of the adults to be overweight by 2050. More than half of the world's adults and a third of the world's children are young people will be overweight or obese by the year 2050. How depressing. According to two studies published by the Lancet Medical Journal. The two studies are part of the Global Burden of Disease Research Program, which has been studying the world's health problems since the early 1990s and now has more than 12,000 researchers from over 160 countries taking part. The two studies used up to 1,350 data sources to estimate how common being overweight and obese was for people in 204 countries and territories between 1990 and 2020. These findings were then used to predict how common these problems would be by 2050. The study looked at children aged between 5 and 40 and young people aged between 50 and 24. The other study looked at adults aged 25 and older. Researchers found that between 1990 and 2021, the number of people who were overweight or obese more than doubled. Children and young people with these health problems increased from 198 million to 498 million. And the number of adults with these problems increased from 731 million to 2.11 billion. If these trends continue, the researchers predict that 31% of the world's children and young people, 746 million, will be overweight or obese by 2050, and 60% of the world's adults, 3.8 billion, will also be overweight or obese. Too much food around there, you know. The researchers noted that weight problems may vary across the world, with more than half of the world's overweight or obese adults in 2021 living in just 8 countries: China, India, the US, Brazil, Russia, Mexico, Indonesia, and Egypt. Not in Japan. The researchers say that as young people are becoming overweight and obese at earlier ages, they are more at the risk of developing health problems like diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. They called for urgent action to improve people's diets and provide more opportunities for exercise. Yes, it's everything about your diet. What you eat makes you. Discussion. What are your thoughts on the findings of these studies? Very depressing. Yeah, it's just laziness about being fat, you know. I know there's some people who's can help it because it's a disease sometimes, but most of the case is you can just not control yourself. Do you think it's likely that more than half of the world's adults will be overweight or obese by 2050? Well, probably not in Japan because Japanese people are very how can I say keen, very stressed about how we look. So there's much less people than the other wars, but I can kind of imagine any other countries, like the listed countries, can be more than half. Yeah. Is obesity a big problem in your country? Not yet. Why do you think that is? Well, Japanese foods are sort of not fatty, but it's hidden, so it's not healthy sometimes. Why do you think obesity has increased so rapidly around the world? Gluten, sugar, oils, dairies. Too much of it. What do you think governments should do to address the obesity epidemic? You just need to teach them how to hold on to your diet. Would you say, for the discussion, would you say the typical diet in your country has gotten healthier or unhealthier in recent decades? In recent decades, I didn't know, but now I know it's much unhealthier than in Edo era. Yeah, after the World War II, we lose to other country, and they changed our diet. That's what I learned now. So it's much worse now. Do kids in your country learn about nutrition and healthy living in school? Not enough, to me. Have you made any changes to improve your diet in recent years? Actually, yes, I started to do the gluten free and try not to take oil from plants, dairy, no dairies, and much less sugars. Yes. Do you think living a healthy lifestyle is harder today than it was in the past? Yes. Yes, because like those bad foods are everywhere, and you don't even know what's in the package. So I mean, it's listed, but yeah, if you keep good food in your fridge, you will eat good food. Yeah, it's true. Rick Adams, what are your thoughts on this quote? Yeah, yes, everything in the fridge is what you eat, so definitely.